Hello Aquarius, this is your October forecast and also applies if you've got Aquarius rising or Aquarius moon. So the news this month, on the 10th of the month, Mercury goes direct and makes everything to do with travel, technology and communications hopefully a whole lot smoother and easier. So let me break the month down for you, Aquarius. First of all, for the first 8 days of the month, we've got Venus still here in your 7th house of relationships. She's been here for a while, even during the retrograde period, and now just the tail end of it. So many of you have reevaluated, reassessed, and redefined your relationships. What you need, what you want, and what the other person seems to want. Now, with Venus still in that 7th house, obviously direct, this is still a great time for those of you looking for a relationship to meet that special someone. Obviously, make sure you're out and about so that you can meet that person. But Venus here also brings you the potential of a nice business partnership. And also, if there's been any kind of ruffled feathers or any difficulties in a one-to-one relationship, Venus can bring you some peace and harmony once more in that area. So we've got Venus on the 9th then moving into this 8th house with a lot of activity happening in this 8th house of joint finance, and it's Jupiter's there for almost another year, Mars all month, and Venus from the 9th onwards. So this is a large focus, a potential for gains through other people's investments and other people's money. So it's a great time for expanding your knowledge about money and finance. Some of you may not have been interested, but there's a lot of changes happening right now. Maybe you need to be interested, at least for your own skin, for your own banking, insurance, financial situation. Debts would also come into this. But Venus here is bringing some good fortune, some good news. Could be an inheritance, could be a sponsorship, a grant. It could be something where somebody wants to invest in you, or a product or an idea that you've got. It can also mean going deeper and more intimately into an existing relationship. Jupiter, remember, magnifies whatever it touches. So if you're already in a good business joint relationship, chances are the opportunities will come and there'll be more good things to make that business partnership better. If it's not been going so well, then Jupiter's going to magnify that and say to you, hey, isn't it time to make some changes? This is also a great time for studying metaphysics, the occult, for psychology, for going deeper into the understanding of your mind and how powerful your mind is to get you what you want, and also to attract to you those things that you don't want, depending on what you're repeating to yourself all of the time. But generally, this bodes potentially very, very well for your financial situation, as long as you're a little bit careful about joint partnerships, especially if they've not been going too well. So on the 10th of October, we've got Mercury direct here in your 9th house. So any kind of traveling that may have been difficult, anything that you've been holding off doing, reassessing, you can go ahead from the 10th onwards. The Sun is also in this 9th house, and the 9th house has everything to do with higher education. Maybe during the retrograde, maybe you're reflecting upon what can I learn, what should I study, or maybe what shall I teach. During the retrograde, it's a good time for writing. Once it's gone direct, this is a great time for publishing something, getting it out into the world and read by other people. It's also a great time for planning that trip, especially because we've got a new moon happening in this 9th house as well on the 13th of this month. So this is a lot of energy now in this 9th house. It's your spiritual direction. What's meaningful to you? What are you believing? With this new moon, you may meet new people from overseas. You may do business overseas. It's an opportunity to travel overseas and also just to connect with different kinds of people. Look at things differently. This is a new opportunity almost to clean your mind out and to have some new and uplifting thoughts and ideas. On the 24th of October, we've got the Sun coming into your 10th house. And here with the Sun in the 10th house, this is shining a light for you the last week, Aquarius, on your career. There could be some good news about a job, a career move. There could be something that you need to change in this area, and the Sun is just shining a light benevolently, saying, hey, this is where your focus needs to be for this last week of the month. On the 27th of the month, we've got a full moon happening in Taurus, happening in your 4th house. Now, full moons are a time of fruition, a time of culmination. So maybe something to do with a family member comes to fruition. Maybe a move you've wanted to make, a house move, or maybe some changes to your environment, maybe your office, maybe your work, especially if you work from home. Changes that you've wanted to do for a while, they complete. They come to fruition at the time of this full moon. Equally, because a full moon shines a light on a life area, maybe there's something that you really want to change about your living situation, your home situation. Maybe you've had too many relatives staying. Maybe it's time to say, hey, no, we want some peace and quiet now. But this is shining a light on everything. Maybe there's something to do with the family that comes to a head, that needs to be talked about, that needs to be looked at. That too can happen during this full moon in your 4th house. Now, all month we're under a very beneficial aspect between Pluto in your 12th and Jupiter in your 8th house. So these are powerful planets. And this Jupiter-Pluto could well bring you a substantial investment from somebody else in you. It can certainly bring you a powerful investor into something you want to do. So if you've got a project and you want to do something, this Pluto-Jupiter can really help you. It's also showing you that you've got a lot of power, a lot more strength, inner strength than you may realize. And you can use that because there's a flow of that energy with the trine from Pluto to Jupiter this month. What we've also got going on is a square energy. We've got a square happening between Saturn and Neptune. Squares are tension, that's why I put them in red, and you can't miss them. When there's a square energy going on, you'll know it because you'll feel possibly a certain discomfort. So Saturn in your 11th and Neptune in your 2nd. Saturn is about structure, honouring your commitments. Neptune is about faith and hoping and thinking that things are just going to come out the way you're hoping. So with it being in relation to your finances, your friendships, it may be that a friend commits and then can't keep those commitments. Maybe somebody promises you something financially and that doesn't happen. Or maybe you promise something financially and you're unable to come up with the goods. So just make sure with this aspect that you only promise and commit to what you really feel you can do. Otherwise, don't do it because you may find that you disappoint someone. We'll see this globally for sure. It's an aspect historically that shows leaders making wonderful pie in the sky, sometimes Neptunian promises, only to find that Saturn, the reality of the situation, means that they cannot keep those promises they hoped to keep. So there you have it, my lovely Aquarians. I wish you a great month. Thank you for commenting, sharing, subscribing, and for coming for your own personal reading. Bye for now.